Picture a mountain in the southern Urals. Trees, snow, a few service roads that go nowhere. From the air, it's the most boring place on Earth. But underneath that rock, somebody carved out a complex tunneled hundreds of meters straight into solid granite, big enough to swallow whole buildings, built for one reason. So that when the missiles fly and the cities above turn to ash, a handful of people can climb inside, seal the doors, and outlive the end of the world. So how do you build something meant to survive a direct nuclear hit? And what's actually down there in the dark? Let's find out. The mountain has a name, Yamantau. And for decades, the Soviets, then the Russians, swore there was nothing special about it. A mine, a food store, an emergency shelter. The story keeps changing. That is usually the first clue the truth is something else. Because the scale of what has been dug into that rock does not match a single one of those answers. To get why anyone would pour a fortune into hollowing out a mountain, you have to understand the Cold War. The logic was brutally simple. Both sides figured one day the other might launch first. Thousands of warheads, no warning, the big city's gone in under an hour. And in that nightmare, the question was not how do you stop it? It was how does the country keep working afterward? Who gives the orders? Who controls what is left of the arsenal? A nation that loses its leadership in the first 30 minutes cannot even surrender, let alone fight back. So the planners decided leadership had to survive, no matter what. Not in a basement, not in some reinforced office. Inside a mountain, deep enough that a bomb landing right on top of them still would not reach. And here's where it gets genuinely hard. Digging a tunnel is easy. Hollowing out a space big enough to live and work in under hundreds of meters of rock and guaranteeing the ceiling won't come down when a nuke goes off overhead. That is a whole different problem. A blast doesn't just punch the surface, it slams a shockwave straight down through the ground, and that wave cracks rock, collapses chambers, crushes anything stiff enough to resist it. So you can't just carve a hole and call it a day. The reported fix sounds made up. The buildings inside the mountain, and yes, there are actual buildings inside the mountain, do not sit on the rock. They rest on giant shock absorbers, springs and dampers, so when the ground heaves, the whole complex flexes and rides the wave instead of fighting it. The underground city shudders and survives instead of standing still and shattering. And to seal it, blast doors. Not anything you've walked through. Slabs of steel and concrete that weigh as much as a loaded airliner, built to slam shut and lock out the pressure, the heat, the radiation. Once they close, the mountain is the wall, and the wall is 1/2 kilometer thick. So you've got your sealed fortress. Now you have to keep people alive inside it, cut off from the world for weeks, maybe months. And that's its own nightmare, because down there you can't crack a window. Everything has to be self-contained. Its own power, generators burning stored fuel because the grid up top is gone. Its own water, pulled from deep in the rock or stockpiled in reservoirs. Food to outlast whatever winter, nuclear or otherwise, is raging upstairs. And the thing nobody pictures until they've breathed the same air for a month is the AIR itself. A bunker like this cannot suck in oxygen from outside because outside is full of fallout, so it recycles. The air gets dragged through banks of filters that strip out radioactive dust, scrubbed of the carbon dioxide everyone keep exhaling, then pushed back around again. Some of these systems run on overpressure. They keep the inside at slightly higher pressure than the outside, so if there is a leak anywhere, air pushes out instead of in. Poison, dust, fallout. None of it can creep through a crack because the whole place is always gently breathing outward. And the lights stay on because nothing in there depends on the world above. That's the entire point. It's a city built to forget the surface exists. But here is the strangest part. Nobody on the outside actually knows what is down there. The layout has never been published. The cost was never announced, and something this size would have cost a staggering amount, buried quietly in defense budgets nobody was allowed to question. Even now, satellite analysts argue about it. They watch the trucks come and go, map the tunnel mouths, count the support buildings and the rail lines feeding in, and they still cannot agree on how deep it runs or how many people it holds. The estimates go wild. Some say a few thousand, some say tens of thousands. When American officials started asking hard questions back in the 90s, the answers were useless. A mine, they were told. Mining what? Nobody could say. Stack it against other doomsday builds and the scale really lands. Plenty of governments have bunkers, hardened command posts, fortified basements, tunnels under cities. But most of those are built to ride out a strike and then get everyone back out. This is something else. This isn't a panic room. It's closer to an underground country. It has enough redundancy, enough size to actually keep running on its own. That's what makes it so unsettling and so expensive. So the obvious question, would it actually work? Honestly, that's where the cracks show. First problem, getting there. A bunker only helps if the people it is for can reach it in time, and a modern strike gives you minutes, not hours. Leadership scattered across a country the size of Russia cannot all sprint to one mountain before the warheads land. Second problem, the one every survival plan hits. What happens when the supplies run out? You can store fuel and food for months, but months end. And then you have to come up into whatever is left and the mountain cannot help you anymore. And then there's the hardest truth of all. This thing was dreamed up in an age of rock and concrete and steel. Weapons didn't sit still. Modern warheads are more accurate and far more powerful, and some are built specifically to dig in before they go off. Bunker busters designed to punch deep and then detonate, designed to beat exactly this kind of defense. So the uncomfortable possibility is that the protection has already been outrun. That after all that digging, the mountain is more a symbol than shield. A monument to the idea that someone, somewhere, has to make it through, even if, when it comes down to it, they would not. And yet, it is still there, still maintained. By most accounts, still being worked on, decades after the country that started it stopped existing. New roads, new construction, trucks that keep rolling in and out of a mine that officially produces nothing. Whatever that mountain is, it is not finished and it is not abandoned. Somebody is still keeping the lights on down there, still scrubbing the air, still maintaining doors the size of houses for a day everyone hopes never comes. Sit with that for a second. Right now, while you are watching this, deep inside a mountain in the Urals, a machine built to outlive the apocalypse is quietly humming along, waiting, just in case. So here is what I'll leave you with. If the worst ever happened, if it really was the end, would you want a seat inside, or would you rather not be the one who has to walk out afterward? Tell me in the comments. I actually want to know. And if you're into this kind of deep dive on the most secretive mega builds on the planet, do me a favor and subscribe. The next one is already in the works. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.